There will be spoilers ahead. Lots of spoilers, so be careful, won't you?
Rub-a-dub-dub, 12 actors in a tub, and who do you think they be? Ernie and Shelly and Roddy and Jack, all of them lost at sea. Under the sea, under the sea, Ernest had better get down where it's wetter, take it from me. Back in the bow they drown real fast, sink faster than the mast, while Gene is speeching, everyone reaching under the sea. Before I get tied to a rock and tossed overboard, I'm going to stop this musical madness and remind you all that this is Max Mike Movies, and we're here to talk film, not flooding. The Poseidon Adventure is this week's entry in our treatise on disaster porn. And who is going to be harpooning or hooraying this bit of destructive detritus? First on the deck is Max. I'm going to sink this bitch Levine. Say something salty, Max.
I'm the king of the world, bitches.
Sure. And I am the first mate, Mike. Drop those coconuts loose.
Bonk.
Ow! Together, we're a happy crew. But what makes us even happier is reading your answers to our
Poll question.
Last week's enquiry was, what is your favorite cinematic giant monster? You had many things to say.
Oh!
Like that. All of them cool. Right from the heart of the frozen north, Vince posted this to our website. Quote, "This is a hard one for me."
Ooh, I know. Sasquatch.
No.
Bigfoot.
No.
Big Squatch.
Would you shut, Squatch? Quote, "This is a hard one for me. My mom loved Gamera, the friend of the children, but I had a huge Godzilla-shaped space in my heart. I am not sure if it's because it fit my fascination with dinosaurs as a kid, or that Godzilla movies played every weekend at the local movie house costing 50 cents for a double feature. I pretty much love most of them, and because just the premise of having a giant monster is pretty ridiculous, so I don't question the films and just enjoy them. Seeing them represented in big-budget, effects-laden movies these days melts my cold, snow-covered Canadian heart." End quote. That's really touching. Thanks, Vince.
And sorry.
Yeah, you should be. From Facebook, because that's still a thing, Dave,
Professor Dave.
good enough, had this to say, quote, "For me, the original Godzilla v. Mothra," that's a big case.
Yeah. That was in Superior Court, wasn't
I
it?
think so. For me, the original Godzilla v. Mothra is the best of those movies, so I guess it's Mothra, but only if you include his entourage, the Peanuts, and the tribe on that island who speak that goofy language, end quote.
Yeah. Mothra.
Oh, I was brief. Thanks, Dave.
Yeah.
Also,
But to the point.
Wasn't Mothra a she? I thought Mothra was a she.
I don't know. It seemed to change.
It's incredibly important, I'm
Yes.
sure. Beverly Bates bent the rules just a little with, quote, "Sully from Monsters, Inc., end quote.
Not giant.
No, but he is a sweetheart, so
Yeah,
thanks,
yeah.
Beverly.
We'll allow it.
Nick Hoffman went in a very different direction, quote, "I'm rather partial to dragons myself. Vermithrax, the dragon from Dragon Slayer, was the first time I saw a dragon in a movie that hit the mark," end quote. I do love me some Vermithrax.
He is some serious dragon action.
Yeah, thanks, Nick. Val Coons, matriarch of the Q Footsteps podcast, posted, quote, "Does Toothless count? My favorite kaiju is Gamera. Who doesn't love a giant turtle who can throw flames from his leg holes? I will always have a special place for Gojira, too. That movie got to me from the social commentary point of view. Very sad," end quote. Indeed sad, until he came back next movie and for the next 70 years. Well, thanks, Val. Okay, deep breath. Adam Mark had very definite opinions indeed. Quote, "Without question, the T-Rex in the original Jurassic Park. It's an amazing achievement of cinema. The signs of it arriving, like the vibrating water in the cup. Where's the goat? It's lumbering through the turned-off electric fence. A slow-motion realization of horror for the viewer. The people in the jeeps, proxies for the audience, being frozen in fear. They, like us, are frozen in their seats. Spielberg was clever in making the viewer feel trapped like the people in the cars. You cannot be a passive observer here. You become trapped in the car too. The authenticity of it, such as the wet scales in the rain, the footfalls, snorts, it's roar! I mean, he just wrote roar, but I'm sure that's what he meant. How well it is animated. This CGI still holds up decades later and won well-deserved Oscars for Best Sound Editing, Best Sound Mixing, and Best Visual Effects. How it destroys the cars and chases the people. There's an amazing physicality to this monster. It doesn't just look real, it feels real. The twisting of the metal, the shattering of the glass, the rain, the mud. Spielberg was a genius in bringing the monster to life. You'll notice it's always shot from ground level. No soaring vantage points for this monster. You're on the ground, you're small, and T-Rex is coming after you. The reactions of the people, Lexi's screams, Max's wails in the smashed overturned car, Alan's commands to the children, scared and struggling to suppress it, Ellie's repeated scream of, I can't say this word, blank, as their Jeep speeds away. These actors sell it. They deserve an Oscar for Best Ensemble Cast. Their reactions sell T-Rex. The rest of the Jurassic Park series is not worth mentioning. But the original stands out. A monster for the ages, end quote, wow. Oh, that was,
Wow.
thought that was from Dave. Thanks for
That was a treatise right there.
yeah, thanks for the very well thought out, detailed post, Adam.
Seriously.
Tyler Stewart offered something a little more brief, quote, I bounced between Godzilla and King Kong before settling on Kong, both the original and the Peter Jackson version, end quote. Kong is king for a reason. Thanks, Tyler. Val Kuhn snuck back in with, quote, Steven the assistant would like to put in the Iron Giant. He says not all monsters are evil. Second choice is the Anaconda from Anaconda, end quote. Huh. Interesting. Thank you, Assistant Steven. Does that mean there's a Steven Prime?
I assume if you keep working, eventually you'll be Manager Steven.
Ooh. Matt Reisman gives us, quote, in animation, I love the Hydra from Hercules. In live action, I like the dragon from Dragonheart on its own, but the movie is somewhat lacking.
Yeah.
I feel like the Balrog should have an honorable mention here, though. End quote. And so it shall.
Yeah.
Balrog. Thanks, Matt. And Jamie Kleinert gave us a bunch from a totally different angle. Quote, Falcor from The Never-Ending Story. ROUSs, rodents of unusual size,
yep.
just because of their ridiculousness. I mean, giant is a relative term, right?
Yeah.
The Balrog and the Rancor. Brad named Godzilla, Mechagodzilla, and King Kong. End quote. Thanks, Jamie and Brad.
Thank you. Very cool.
Well, it looks like that's all the time we have for that, except to ask Max what his favorite giant movie monster is.
Nobody cry when Jaws die. When my conch die, everybody cry. I make sure they cry when my conch die.
So you're choosing King Kong.
I like King Kong. There's just something, and maybe it's just because he's a fellow primate. There's something more. Well, he is.
I mean, sure.
There's something more human about him, and he is one of the monsters that really is wronged. You know, he's
Sure.
He's
Yep.
just hanging out in Skull Island, moving and a grooving, eating a lot of fruit.
It was fine until we showed up and took him away.
Yeah.
How about me, you ask?
Yes, how about you?
I have a soft spot for Gamera because he's so stupid.
And he is filled with meat.
Yes, and he's fun to eat.
Yep.
I also have a soft spot for a one-timer named Reptilicus, which my sister and I referred to as the Swedish snot monster.
Oh, dear.
But of course, really, who can argue with Godzilla? 'Cause Godzilla.
Yeah.
But we loved all your answers,
Thank you so
thank you.
much.
We couldn't ask for more, except to answer this week's poll question.
Yes.
Do you prefer your disaster porn intimate or on a grand scale? Small, like a single vehicle of some kind, or huge, like entire cities? Let us know and tell us why, and follow us down the long, dark tunnel to trivia.
The facts.
Budget. $4.7 million, so much money.
Hey, in 1972, yeah.
Take a guess.
Nope.
Yes.
I'm always wrong.
That's okay, take a guess.
Okay, 11 million.
125.
Whoa!
Yeah.
So that would be more.
Yes, well, so that would be a good thing. Yes, that is good. This movie.
Kind of explain why there were so many then in the 70s.
Well, we're getting to that. This movie was shot in sequence, something rarely done in Hollywood for logistical
rare.
reasons. However, it did allow makeup to progress as the actors got dirtier and more wounded. Shelly Winters was only 51 when making this film, though she plays a good deal older. Ernest Borgnine was 54.
Ernest Borgnine looked like he was 54 when he was 11.
12, but you're correct. Winters was a huge fan of gin rummy and often played to keep herself occupied between shots. During the making of this film, she lost $260,000 to her rummy partner and screened husband Jack Albertson, though she never paid him.
Well, he probably never tried to collect.
He's a very nice guy. Shelly Winters, trooper that she is, gained 35 pounds for her role in this and took swimming lessons from an Olympic swimming coach so that her character would appear more realistic in the underwater scenes. There were 125 stunt people hired for this movie, although only 53 were credited. Some stunts were performed by the actors themselves in a sort of unofficial competition. After doing some of the stunts, actors such as Ernest Borgnine questioned whether they really should be doing these things. The answer is no.
Yeah.
The capsizing scene was not done all at once. Instead, a hydraulically activated set was turned 45 degrees. Cameras stopped. The set was redecorated so that what was the ceiling was now the floor. Actors were put back in, and cameras rolled again. Many scenes were shot on the permanently docked Queen Mary. The Poseidon itself was modeled after Mary's blueprints. They don't always get along. Jack Albertson, who played Shelly Winters' husband, apparently did not like Ms. Winters, and this is before that she wouldn't pay him the $260,000, and claimed the only scene he really enjoyed filming with her was when she died.
Oh, ouch.
Yep. The morning after, the theme song to The Poseidon Adventure won it an Oscar for Best Song, though we are all probably much more familiar with the Maureen McGovern version.
Yeah, I was.
Other awards won by this movie include a special award for the visual effects, Best Actor BAFTA for Gene Hackman, and a Best Supporting Actress Golden Globe for Shelly Winters. In 1979, they made a sequel called Beyond the Poseidon Adventure.
Watch it sink?
That film has a 0% rating on the Fruit site and made $2.1 million off its $10 million budget. Ooh, that's bad.
Yeah.
But that's okay. The original film was remade in 2006, but retitled Poseidon.
It was?
It was directed by Wolfgang Peterson, only has a 33% rating on that old Fruit site, and made only $180 million off of a $160 million budget. That's a double oops.
Ouch.
Yeah. This was, however, the highest-grossing American film of 1973. So there. But now, unless Max has some fishy facts to add...
I'll call my fishy friends, but yes, I do.
Aha, I thought you might.
That is about the presence of a couple, one very significant musician and one incredible musician who should have been in the movie but wasn't.
Okay.
Now, the band who plays along with Noni singing their one song of There's Got to Be a Morning After over and over again.
More than once.
Yeah. One of those was, the bass player is Mark Tullen.
Oh.
From the 60s, the legendary 60s psychedelic rock band, The Electric Prunes.
Oh, okay.
This is a guy who is in fact called Dr. Psychedelic.
Oh.
The guitarist, who is supposed to be Noni's brother, was...
Spinal Tap?
No. He was supposed... This is a little more obscure. He ends up being played by someone I don't care about.
Oh.
What bothers me is who he should have been played by. Who was originally cast was a guy named Waddy Wachtel.
Oh,
A famous session musician who played with Warren Zevon in his band and is referenced in the song Things to Do in Denver When You're Dead by name.
Oh.
He should have been in it, but the problem was Noni has blue eyes and he has brown eyes.
Oh, we're going to come back to that.
Okay.
Believe it or not.
All right. That's pretty much the only other trivia I have. Sorry, Waddy, you should have been in it.
Sure. All right. The plot, for those who have not seen The Poseidon Adventure. It's 1972-ish, and there's a bunch of people aboard the final voyage of the SS Poseidon as it travels from New York to Athens. You heard that right. Along the way, Captain Leslie Nielsen is trying to take things easily as the boat is really on its way to the scrapyard, but a representative of the company that owns the boat keeps goading him into pushing the engines to their fullest so that they don't waste time and money on a boat that's heading for its grave. Grave. The voyage is attended by an all-star cast and some other people. It's New Year's Eve, everyone is celebrating, but a sudden, unexpected rogue wave has other ideas. Having pushed the ship past what he thinks is safe, all Captain Nielsen can do is make a sudden turn and hope for the best. It doesn't work, and the boat is capsized, killing most of the crew instantly and sending the partiers to the ceiling in a rather sudden crash. It's now all Reverend Gene Hackman can do to try and save his new flock, trying to lead them to safety, threading his way through wreckage and fires to the far back end of the ship in hopes that, once there, someone can cut through what is apparently the thinnest section of solid steel before they sink. There's arguing, a smart-aleck kid, an aged swimming champ, song and dance man Jack Albertson, and even Ernest Borgnine. Who will live? Who will die? Will it all be for naught? It's disaster porn, baby. That's how we roll.
The film.
So, Max,
Yeah.
I always like to ask this question. When was the first time, or have you seen this before?
Nope.
Oh, this is a first for both of us.
Yeah, I'd seen a couple of scenes. I'd seen a couple of the famous scenes. I maybe saw it on TV, bits and pieces. I never watched the whole thing start to finish.
I didn't put this in the trivia. So one of the most famous scenes from this film is when the boat overturns and a guy falls and lands straight into the glass ceiling.
Which is now the glass floor.
Yeah, so the guy who was supposed to do that was worried about falling from such a height. And they're like, no, really, it's safe. So they got a dog.
Oh.
And they let the dog do it.
Uh-oh.
And he's like, well, if a dog can do it, you can do it. He's like, well, okay. And I think it was he still got nervous because it was a little higher up. So his wife came out and his wife did it. And he's like, okay, if the dog and my wife can do it, I can do it. And then he later went on to become a stunt coordinator, believe it or not. But
Okay.
That's probably the most famous scene. Cool. So this is one of those films that had lived in your periphery.
Oh, yeah. Everyone knew about it. I knew the damn song.
I did not know the song was from this. I knew the song.
I knew the song was from this. I don't remember how. It just came up.
Did not know they were going to play it so many times.
Yeah.
But so this is first for both of us. Let's start with the actors. That's what we've been doing lately. I think that works out pretty well.
I did like in the credits, it just says, and Leslie Nielsen as the captain. All I could think was, and Leslie Nielsen as the beaver.
Well, all right. I was
And also, if you see Leslie Nielsen is in it, it's like, oh, this is not going to go well for you.
Now, to be fair, it depends on when in his career. Up till this point, you're probably right. After this point, I should say. Because, of course, in Airplane, okay. But I also, another question. Have you ever been in a Turkish prison? Do you like to watch gladiator movies?
What?
Gene Hackman. What did you think of Gene?
The Hackman.
I knew we were going to get past another episode of that robot
The
monster.
Hackman.
To live
be
like
the Hackman.
To preach like the Hackman. What did you think of him as a priest?
I love Gene Hackman. Gene Hackman is a terrific actor. I didn't buy him as a priest for a nanosecond. I'm sorry. Never mind the 70s hair and the jacket and the turtleneck.
So Gene was doing some serious coming over at this point.
Boy.
And there's a point where in the early part of the film where he's out on deck and the wind is basically going, you have a comb over, you have a comb over.
Yeah, flip. Does this bug you? Does this bug you? I'm the wind. You can't do anything. Flip.
Yeah.
He tries, but I don't buy that he's a reverend, or I don't know if he was. They keep calling him a reverend, but he mentions a bishop, that his bishop is sending him to Africa.
Well, he could be Episcopalian.
He could be, that's true. But the priest he's talking to is wearing the full collar, the full rabat, the collar.
Yeah.
That guy was Catholic.
Yeah. So
it's hard to
it
tell.
reminds me of a MASH quote, which was basically, priests aren't supposed to hurt people. He is really much more the Hackman than he is the God-man, I think.
Kind of.
And while his performance itself is solid, his portrayal of a priest is kind of unbelievable.
And again, that might be the script. I don't know, because the lines he have are, "Yes, I'm a rebel. I'm a troublemaker. They sent me away because they can't handle the truth." It's like, Hackman's a good priest.
Wait, that's Jack Nicholson.
Whatever.
No.
Like
So-
T.J. Hackman, the man of
T.J.
God.
Hackman.
I don't know.
Ernest Borgnine. I swear, he does not stop yelling for the length of the movie.
He is quite noisy in this, and he's an interesting character. I guess he's retired.
I don't know.
We're not sure. He should. He looks like he should be retired, but he's a police detective lieutenant whose wife is a former hooker.
That he arrested 6 times.
And he arrested 6 times because that apparently is a way he got a date. I don't know.
Apparently that was based on a real person that
wow.
had actually done that. Yeah.
And,
I just was like, why do they what's with all the yelling and the screaming?
He does that a lot. When he isn't being sort of nice and goofy, he's loud.
He didn't in this film, but he
this-
didn't do that in Marty
No, but that was a very different kind of movie.
and 20 some odd years before
Yeah.
that.
And of
Although
course-
he looks the same.
Yeah, and his wife is played by Stella Stevens, of all people.
Yeah, and I have to say that in general, she doesn't stop yelling either.
She's pretty loud, but it's kind of a nice touch because clearly she can stand out to him. She's not intimidated by him. She's not afraid of him.
No, and there's this weird, well, she has this weird problem where she is afraid that everyone's judging her for what she did or does, well, did because now she's married. And the nicest part about their relationship is Ernest Borgnine keeps telling her, I don't care. It doesn't bother me. And obviously we find out later, he really knows what she did because he arrested her for it.
Yeah.
But I don't know, I found her very shrill. And she was not alone.
In the book, apparently, she is even less likable.
Yeah, and she didn't want to take this part for two reasons. One, she didn't want to play this part being unlikable. And two, she really did not like Shelly Winters. They had worked together before, and it had gone badly.
Oh, dear.
And this time, it turns out it went fine.
And Shelley, let's talk about Shelly Winters.
Shelly Winters, you know, I said good for Shelly. She has a solid performance, and she honestly is pretty brave because she is allowing herself to be portrayed in the 70s, not her 70s, in the 70s, in a pretty unflattering light. When she gets into the water, that did not do any actor, male or female, any favors because she gained weight for the role. She's in granny panties, let's face it.
Yeah.
But I love the fact that her character is like, the hell with this, I'm going to go save Gene Hackman, and she does.
Yep. And she points out because she was like, when she was 17, she was an underwater swimming champion.
Yeah.
And it turns out, holy crap, yeah, she's actually better at this.
Yeah, she's right.
Up until it kills her. Oops, spoiler.
Oh, well, yeah, the film's 50
I like
years old.
her and Jack Albertson together. The fact that they didn't get along in real life doesn't come across.
No.
I think they're adorable together. Yes, they are very much the stereotypical old Jewish couple, but they're old Jewish people. Or at least middle-aged Jewish people, and I think both from New York. I can't remember. No, actually, sorry. Jack Albertson is from Malden, Massachusetts.
Is he really?
Yes, he is.
Oh, that's that thick Malden accent that's coming through.
He is the children of Russian Jewish immigrants.
Huh. Jack, I thought, it's Jack Albertson. Yeah. We get the sweet, charming Jack Albertson we've always got, even in Chico and the Man, where he's grumpy Jack Albertson. I mean, this is basically an extension of Grandpa Joe, right?
Kind of.
And he's fine.
Yeah.
I have no problem with him.
He does a decent job. They don't have a lot to do.
Roddy McDowell.
What country was he supposed to be from?
Worst Scottish accent ever. Apparently, he kind of gives up throughout because he couldn't hold it, which is good because he's terrible.
He really doesn't do it well. It's just kind of... And that and the fact that his leg is injured are his only character traits.
Yeah.
He has nothing else.
No. I mean, to be fair, his part's not very big.
Yeah. And what about Nancy Drew?
Pamela Sue.
Sorry, Pamela Sue Martin.
She's fine. There's nothing outstanding here. She's there.
How come she's wearing hot pants under her skirt?
That is one of my notes. We're going to get to that a little later. Yeah. But yeah, thank God they matched and everything. Yeah. Eric Shea.
Yeah,
he plays the kid.
Robin, yeah.
I don't know where Batman is.
Yeah,
but
my first line on him is, "Oh, an adorable, scrappy child. Please tell me he drowns first."
I actually said I thought he was one of the better kid actors I've seen in these things.
He does a nice job, but the character, initially anyway, is so irritating. And he's good at it. I mean, he's convincingly irritating.
I'm a little brother myself, so I get it.
Yeah.
And luckily, the difference between him and Nancy Sue Drew there is greater than my sister and myself. But first we see he's the know-it-all kid. He wants to know everything about the boat. He's thrilled, and he's got information which honestly ends up saving everybody. But also, we get a scene where they're in their stateroom, him and Nancy Sue Drew, and he is just little brothering all over the place. He is jumping up and down in the bed and just being a horrible little snot. And I'm kind of like, I don't know if I hate him or I really love him. But for kid actors, I have to say, I think he does a pretty good job. Although, you may remember him better as Cindy Brady's secret admirer.
Oh, I do not, in fact.
He did. He was paid off by Bobby, who was really the secret admirer, and he was given...
Ew!
Well, he was trying to make Cindy feel good. He wasn't really admiring his sister. Although, since they're not actually blood related...
I know.
Let's not go into the Brady Bunch, shall we?
No, that's a whole series right there.
Red Buttons. He comes off as kind of creepy stalkery.
Well, a little initially. He's sort of like... I see him go. They have him out jogging, and he's doing the whole physical shtick. And it's like, Red Buttons is on a collision course with wackiness. But that's not how they play him. They play him as kind of pathetic and lonely. And then he sort of Well, to be fair, Noni, the singer, fixates on him.
Well, that's Carol Lindley.
Carol Lindley.
My note was she was easily the weakest performer of the bunch.
Yeah, she's not very good.
No, but like a limpet, Red Buttons latches onto her and does not let her go.
Yeah, and there's some implication that she's...
Yeah. Speaking of, we'll get to that
creepy.
part yet. And the rest.
And there's plenty of others.
Sure.
By the way, the MC, the guy who's doing the countdown, guy named Bob Hastings.
Oh,
You probably do know him. I knew him. I didn't know I knew him. He is the voice of Commissioner Gordon on Batman the Animated Series, most of the following Kevin Conroy Batman animated movies, a whole bunch of the others.
Wow.
Well done, Bob.
Yeah, we're rooting.
You wouldn't know it, but that's him.
Except he dies. Oops. Yes, people die in this.
Lots of people die.
Yeah, so
almost everyone, really, except our main cast.
I don't think anybody, except for Miss Lindley there, I don't think anybody does a bad job. I'm going to go again. We had the same issue last week where we're like, I think the actors are doing a decent job, but it's the script. And
the dialogue they're given is not good.
Well, also it's like, hey, let's make two of the most on-screen people constantly bitching at each other, because that's what the audience wants to see. Even better, let's make one of them bitching constantly to the guy who's trying to save them, and he's basically a linebacker priest. So that's going to go off really well.
Yeah.
It's a weird choice, a weird directorial choice.
It is odd to see, Ernest Borgnine trying to dominate Gene Hackman on the screen, because it's like, oh, that is so cute. It's like watching a kitten batting at a lion.
Well, and the funny part is that physically,
You'd give the edge to Borgnine. He's got that fireplug brawler look.
But thespianically.
Oh, and Hackman has so much more presence.
Well, he is the Hackman.
He is the Hackman.
Yeah.
Be a man. Be a Hackman.
So my first note of the film, because they decided to shove this in your face right off the bat, is, ladies and gentlemen, this will be your model ship this evening.
Toy boat.
I just, did you buy the...
No. And it's really disappointing. This is jumping way ahead.
Yeah.
But I was watching, it's one of the few times, I don't usually look at a movie and go, oh, this is not how I would have shot that.
Yeah.
I appreciate cinematography, but my brain doesn't work that way. But when they're being rescued, the small number is being rescued, spoiler.
We'll get to that too.
They loading them out of a helicopter. I thought, okay, now we're going to see a shot of the boat upside down.
Yeah.
It's going to be really, apparently, we're done.
No.
We're going to see a section of the underside that could just be a pier, and then we're done.
Well, we have to cycle back, but to add on to that, even worse, at one point, not too long before the end of the film, our little group of 7 castaways passes an inexplicably large group of people that were somehow partying, but not in the dining room. I don't know where these people came from, but they're like, no, we're going to the bow, because that's where the crew tells us to go.
Right, and it turns out that's the part that's going to be underwater.
Well, except when we get to that scene you're talking about, the back end of the ship doesn't look like it's at an angle. It looks totally level.
Yeah.
So it's like, and then we see the helicopter literally go, well, we got all 6 of these people. Off we go. Nobody even
one's
tries.
looking. No one's checking.
We can't possibly cut through the bow of the ship that is not currently actually actively sinking. So, goodbye, everybody. We're done. But now let's So the boat, the ship model,
it's not convincing.
There wasn't even really a good shot of it there. I was like, yeah, that water looks huge.
And to be fair, they don't show it very much. Not from the outside.
That might have actually been a good thing.
Yeah, I think somebody must have gone, yeah, dude, this really doesn't look good.
Yeah, where's that key? We need to wind it up some more. Yeah.
I mean, the shot of the wave looks fairly impressive briefly.
Yeah, well, we don't actually see the boat capsize.
No, we don't. We see it get hit.
There are also, the opening has this little bit of text, and it sort of feels like they're trying to claim this was real.
Yeah, that's implied. It isn't, but
no,
that is the implication. It says, at this date, so-and-so, the SS Poseidon, blah. I'm like, well, first off, spoiler, thank you.
I know, they give away the ending.
Well, we
of the
now know
film.
what's going to happen. Okay, thanks a lot.
The only reason I thought that somebody was going to get out at all, because it made it sound like everybody died, was, there's a kid. They're not going to kill out.
They're not going to kill the child, yes.
So if nobody else gets out, Eric Shea gets out.
Yeah,
or whatever.
Yeah.
So we have an introduction to each of the characters, and they do it in a way where we go from one character to the other. And these character introductions, I don't know if you felt this way, but to me, the character introductions felt a lot like character introductions.
All I could think was, the Love Boat. Because they always would do those little expository, oh gosh, I'm going on this cruise because I'm getting over my divorce. It was very much like, hi, I'm a police detective lieutenant, and this is my hooker wife. And hi, we're two old Jewish people going to go visit our children who we haven't seen in years. And hi, I'm this guy. And they might as well have been wearing name tags. Hello, my name is going to die soon.
My name's Hookerina.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's what's the word I want? Kind of stiffly written.
Yeah, it's very stiffly written, even to the point where they're sitting at dinner. It's New Year's Eve. That's a big thing, apparently.
Yeah. Did you notice what song they played when the clock struck 12?
He's a jolly good fellow. I've written my notes too. It's like, that's not a New Year's song.
No.
Now, they do then play Old Lang Syne, which is another public domain, but much more New Year's-y song. But I'm like, wait. I'm thinking, are they doing for He's a Jolly Good Fellow or The Bear Went Over the Mountain? Neither of them work.
No, there's no bear in this movie.
No.
Yeah, and the
Very
band
odd.
only knows one song. I don't know if you noticed this, but they're rehearsing so that they can play that song for us later and it gets an Oscar or whatever. Yeah. And I actually thought that it was Maureen McGovern. I didn't realize somebody else had sung it first. And one of the reasons I thought that it was Maureen McGovern is that the person who, Carol Lindley, felt very much like a singer who doesn't know how to act.
Yes, that's what I thought, actually.
I said, oh, look, it's Maureen McGovern in Spinal Tap, because that's what our brother looks like.
And the band I have looks like the Bradys meet the Allman Brothers.
And even better, the scene where they're actually playing and not rehearsing, if you watch them, it is plainly obvious that no one's even close to their instruments.
No.
The drummer is like
He's
2 or 3 inches above them.
His sticks above it.
They're not any
guitar
kind of
player
cadence.
isn't moving his left hand at all.
And even better, if you watch the people dancing, I don't know what they're dancing to, but they're not dancing to this. Nobody dances to The Morning After. It's kind of sad and melancholy, which I guess is foreshadowing. And the song's fine.
What the hell is that kind of song is that to play at on New Year's Eve? It's not celebratory.
Well, maybe it's because it's talking about the foreshadowing of the hangover that is to come.
Maybe
as bad as you're going to feel tomorrow, you'll be a morning after. Or maybe it's for the audience watching this.
Right, by the way, let me ask you something. The captain, Leslie Nielsen, what was his name?
Captain Leslie Nielsen.
Yeah, that's it. I don't think he gets a name. I think he is just the captain.
Well, and then there's the bad guy, which I didn't really mention him, Souvlaki. What is his name? I remember his name. He's the Greek tycoon, that's all I know.
Totopoulos, because he's unscrupulous.
You're unstoppable.
And again, I'm sitting there going, okay, I just saw where James Cameron stole something for Titanic. You know? It's like, oh, here's the businessman. Here's Bob Executive wants to know which way is business.
And he's standing there, must go fast, over 50 fast. Hey, you're kind of cute. And it's
Jeff
like
Goldblum up. Must go faster. Must go faster.
Well, and I love the logic behind this. It's like, okay, this rusty old tub that we're literally going to throw out. We must take this rusty, nasty old boat and make it go as fast as it possibly can and get to Athens on time.
How is it costing them money to be not at Athens yet?
Supplies, I guess.
I guess, but they've
or
already
fuel
bought them.
oil, steam. Steam's very expensive in the 70s. So he's just sitting there and saying, whipping poor Leslie Nielsen.
And they disappear after the first, 20 minutes? Once the boat capsizes, they die.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, it's suggested that they die.
We don't really know. We never see.
No.
We see water come in, but.
Well, all right, so we have this whole opening part where we're introduced to all the characters and then we care about them. Mm-hmm. Pause for dramatic effect.
Sure.
And then we go to the New Year's Eve party where we see everybody dancing in a ballroom that has no windows.
Yeah, I was a little confused about that. Don't you usually put the ballroom like near the top of the
So you
ship?
have a nice view
You can
of
see outside
things,
or not.
'cause,
I mean,
yeah.
obviously that's like, well, so we don't drown immediately.
Well,
but,
not only do we not drown, but we have plenty of time to stay dry before the water even thinks of coming in.
yeah,
and
that's a strange setup, that boat.
Well, all right. So the wave comes in, the tsunami, if you will,
Yeah.
because they weren't calling them. I mean, the Japanese were calling
Yeah.
them, but we weren't. It was a rogue wave. Excuse me, a rogue wave.
Yeah, a Rogue Warrior 3, if you will.
Wow, it's been a while.
Yeah.
That's a deep house. So this,
Shame on you.
I didn't make it. It was my million francs. Sorry, euros. So they're partying. Oh, should all go. And I love the fact that the kid, Eric Shea, who I don't remember, David. His name's David. I don't remember. His name. Robin. That's right. Boy Wonder.
Yeah.
Has a glass of champagne, and I'm like,
Yeah,
you know
whoa.
what? Good for you.
Yeah.
You're
Nice
going to clean that mess up in the morning, but
Yep.
good for you.
Yep.
And right after midnight, and everyone's singing, the alarm goes off, and I love the reaction of everybody, including the crew. It's like, hey, what's that?
Yeah. That's a weird noise.
The thing comes and it tosses the ship upside down, killing only the crew because basically everybody, we find out later, everyone in the engine room instantly died. We're guessing everybody in the wheelhouse instantly died.
Well, they probably did. The glass broke and they would have been underwater.
Probably, I guess. I, of course, also wonder, is that tipping all the way upside down, is that a thing?
I don't know.
I mean, it seems kind of weird, but
It's-
maybe.
They try to design ships so that can't happen. Or if it does capsize, it'll right itself because of the weight of the keel.
Well, and he was talking about how the ship was
They don't
top
have enough,
heavy.
Yeah, and they
and
don't
needs
have enough ballast. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't either. It seemed kind of hinky to me.
Little hinky.
But now we've got plenty of time for everyone to start arguing
Yeah.
again
Again.
in the ballroom, and it's decided that no, don't listen to the crew. Listen to Father Gene Hackman.
Yes, who is the crew, the purser, because, one person you want to listen to is Gopher Smith there,
I wish Isaac had been there.
is saying, everyone stay put, help will come. My first thought is, from where?
Yeah. I mean,
There's-
they got a Mayday out, but,
He's, the Hackman wasn't wrong. It's like, well, help from where? But they're all probably dead. You don't know that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Well, I love it how they even show the Mayday. It's like, Mayday, we're...
Sploosh. We're wet.
Yeah.
We're wet and we're still hysterical. But so the purser is saying, everyone's remain calm.
Yeah.
Stay here and don't move. And Hackman is saying, no, come with me if you want to live.
Not exactly
Not
like
exactly,
that, but...
no.
And then he goes...
So
Sorry, that was
they very symbolically climb up a Christmas tree to an upside down balcony, I guess.
Well, they climbed their way to safety to Roddy McDowell.
yes, they climbed to.
Well, and of course, why are they going this way? Because the kid, who has just taken a tour of literally every inch of the boat
Yeah.
and has a photographic memory, says, no.
Yeah.
The thinnest steel on the boat, I happen to know this,
Yeah.
is at the very back end of the boat near the propeller.
Thank you, young plot convenience.
And he's like, it's only 1 inch thick there.
I'm like, and what are you going to do? An inch, Bognine points out, it's an inch of steel.
Yeah.
How is that better? Hackman says, well, it's better than 2 inches of steel.
Which
I'm thinking, as far as you're concerned, no, it isn't. What are you going to do? Scrape your way out? Chew through it?
Besides, that's not what she said. So, yes, they decided that the Hackman decided that we're going this way, the hell with the rest of you.
Yeah.
Literally.
Well, he's begging them all, please come with me. Why? Because I'm Gene friggin' Hackman, man.
I will save you.
He just acts like there's no reason they shouldn't be listening to him.
And of course, he is the right Reverend Gene Hackman, so that's why. And then they managed to climb up the Christmas tree. But first, ladies, you must remove your skirts because there's no way you can climb with a skirt.
Yeah.
And that's-
Although, how is it that Linda has to remove her skirt but leave on her 6-inch hurt me heels?
Well, everybody does. And how is it that Pamela Sue Martin has thought ahead? Tonight, underneath this long red flowing velvet skirt, I should have some red velvet hot pants that match. I should do that.
Yeah.
And then, but who do they not say has to do that?
Shelly Winters.
Shelly Winters.
Well, her
And does she
skirt
get
is
up
about
fine?
knee length.
Doesn't matter. She
No.
gets up just fine.
She gets stuck, though, and
but that's not because of her skirt.
Gene Hackman has to grab her hinder and push her on up.
Here you go, Heine. Yeah, so they get to the top, and then the water breaks in.
Yeah.
And here's the problem I had with this. The water breaks in and people start panicking. They all start going for the Christmas tree. The water's not exactly rushing in.
No, and if they just waited,
they'd
it
float.
would lift them up to the doorway pretty easily.
Yeah. Like, can you just, tread some water?
Yeah.
That's
I
all
know
you really gotta
I'm
do.
sure it's very cold. It's January 1st.
Well,
it's the middle of the ocean.
Except nobody ever shivers when they get wet.
Yeah, nor do you see anybody's breath.
So we don't know exactly where they got hit, but it's in the Atlantic. They haven't made it to the Mediterranean, so it can't be that warm.
Yeah,
Or at least it shouldn't be. I think for the sake of the actors it was, but
I hope so.
Yeah. They managed to make their way up and so on and so forth.
But we end up with basically 7 stranded castaways.
Yeah, unfortunately. Also, I don't know if you noticed this was an odd directorial choice. For some reason, throughout the film, doesn't matter exactly what's going on. It doesn't matter the tension level, the scene, whether it's a love scene or it's a fighting scene or whatever. The film is constantly rocking back and forth.
Yeah.
I don't know why this is happening. Have you ever been on any kind of large cruise ship?
I have.
Did you ever notice it rocking back and forth?
Yeah, we were in a storm once.
In a storm?
But normally one of those things, not really.
No.
They're pretty stable.
I mean, I was on a river cruise once, and I had a cabin below decks, so my window was just above the waterline. And I played a game, are we moving or aren't we moving? And I was usually wrong. So my thought was, why? Everything seems stable. None of the stuff in the shot was swaying back and forth. It's just the camera was going back and forth. And and it was very rhythmic. I mean, in a way, it was kind of soothing.
I assumed it was supposed to make, you're on a boat. But yeah, it didn't make a lot of sense on a massive ocean liner.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I also had to ask, I don't know, because you were on a big cruise ship, I wasn't. Do they usually nail the furniture down?
I don't remember. I don't think they did.
Yeah, because they do in this one.
Yeah, the furniture is all, the tables are all still hanging from the ceiling.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It really makes it hard to change the setup for anything.
Like,
we're going to have a big
maybe they
celebration.
bolt them down. I don't know. Maybe they...
It seemed kind of weird
I have
to
no
me.
idea.
Then, of course,
Any of
as
you know? Let us know.
People try to get out. There's death by Christmas tree, one of the saddest ways to go.
Yep. And I got to say, at one point, the Hackman has gotten everybody out, or all of his people out, and he goes back in, and he's looking at the carnage below, and everyone's floating, and he just has this. I just get this idea of sort of a brief look of, ha ha, should have listened to me, should have listened to me, nanny boo boo, you're all gonna die.
Which character is that?
It's the Reverend.
No. The
Nelson.
Nelson.
The Reverend Nelson, yes.
Yeah.
A little. I know that's not what he was going for, but that's all I could think.
Well, and I'm trying to figure out, the film is playing lightly and loosely with the idea of faith.
Mm-hmm.
And
the idea that Hackman, it's hard to tell if he doesn't have his faith anymore, or if
that comes into question later on in the film, but he's got new faith, TM, I guess. And that's his whole approach to preaching, is what's like, well, I don't know, you're kind of a wild and wacky young priest. Young. And he's going off to, they're sending him to the worst part, or not the worst part, they're sending him off to one of the most remote areas where there happen to be Christians to go off. And he's like, oh, I'm all for it. Great. I'm going to go do this thing and go waka 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 and do my magic priest thing.
Yeah. I will teach them the way of the Hackman.
And he spends most of the film saying, follow me. He doesn't say, because I represent a divine being, but he kind of implies it a lot.
He's a lot more of a motivational speaker than he is a priest, because what he's saying is, guess what? God doesn't give a damn about you. He doesn't care about the individual. He cares about mankind as a whole.
Right.
But if you want to get help, you got to do it yourself. He's not going to help you in your everyday life. It's like, gee, what are you, a deist? Hang on.
What you're really saying, boiled down, is you must live like the Hackman.
You must live like the Hackman. Believe in the Hackman.
Because I'm the Hackman. Oh, yes, the Hackman. But so then we get, blah, blah, blah. Follow me. No, trust me. Follow me. And at one point, he and Ernest Borgnine, if Ernest Borgnine isn't arguing with his wife, he's arguing with Gene Hackman.
Yeah.
And they finally get to a point where Borgnine's had enough. I guess. He seems the same throughout the film, so it's hard to tell. But he's like, look, those people are going to the bow. We're going to go with them because there's crew with them. And quite honestly, they know the ship a lot better than you do.
Than this 10-year-old kid we're following.
Trust this kid. So it's kind of hard to argue with that logic, but this is where they really pile on the faith. And it's like, no, trust me, I know what I'm doing based on this kid's testimony. Yeah. And he goes off with Pamela Sue Martin to find, because she's fallen
she's sort
for
of
him.
Imprinted on him. I don't know if she's in love with him or she just, he makes her feel safe.
So
you make me feel like Frank and Joe are both here. The Hardy Boys.
Sean and Parker, save me. Yeah, so we get this a lot in this era of film, and this film has a lot of it too, where we get the older man and the younger woman, and it happens twice in this movie, and in both cases it's really uncomfortable. One of them is with Gene Hackman and Carol Lindley. Oh no, sorry, Gene Hackman and Pamela Sue Anderson, and Red Buttons, romantic heartthrob, and
again,
Carol.
You could argue that the thing with Red Buttons is more of a paternal thing. He's trying to comfort. He's trying to support. He's
trying to hold her really close.
Well, she's holding on to him.
Yeah, but he's not like doing the responsible thing and pushing her away either. He's kind of goofily smiling, which is, Anyway, so Hackman goes off, says, "Follow me." All right, fine. You want to follow these people? Give me 15 minutes, and if I'm not back, go follow the people at the ball. He goes off and eventually does find his way to the magic engine room, which is where they're trying to go.
Right.
So, okay, they follow and they keep following, and they follow and they follow, and they finally get to the point where there's a giant magic steam valve. Yeah. And suddenly the steam valve has to be turned. And the only person to do it is the Hackman.
Yes, and he does it by hanging off it.
Yeah.
And screaming at God.
Saying, "Hey, a little help here?"
Well, he's like, what are you trying to do to us? Why do you keep killing us? You haven't helped us at all. Oh,
we're not asking for you to help us, just don't kill us.
And he's like, if you want to take another life, take mine. And, then he falls to his death into the water.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, there's fire on the top, but he falls through it. I don't get why he didn't just come back up.
Well, I also love the fact that nobody decided to try and go down and see if he was okay.
Yeah, no one was like, should we check if he's... Nah, let's go, he's dead.
Doesn't float to the surface. My thought, too, is it's pretty obvious he gives up.
Yeah.
He gives up.
Yeah.
The one who's been yelling about faith this whole film says, the heck with this.
Well, you can argue that either he's lost faith or he is offering himself up as a sacrifice because Hackman so loved mankind.
Well, now here's my question, though.
Yeah.
If he's given up faith, why shouldn't they turn around and go back to the bow?
Well, they're already there.
Yeah, to get to the big metal plate that they hope somebody's on the other side of.
Yeah.
Because who the hell knows? I didn't understand why he let go. Oh, I'll sacrifice myself. For what? Like, your living wouldn't have changed the outcome of what you just did.
Nope.
So I'm trying to figure out if this is a message the film's trying to say. I don't know. Did you get any... Were you confused?
I was kind of confused by it. I was like, did you just... you just tired? Did you just give up?
Is your contract run out?
It's hard. Yeah,
I'll be in 45 minutes of this film.
I think that was just a flaw for in the script and in the directing. I don't get what was supposed to be taken away from there. You did skip one of the best known scenes, though. Well, that is the underwater scene when they have to get to the engine room. They have to swim through this 35-foot area.
area. All through this area.
And, the Hackman, of course, is going to do it and take a rope and pull them along, but he gets stuck. And so Shelly Winters, Belle Rosen, who 50 years ago was the underwater swimming champ, goes and saves him.
And you know what? I wanted to applaud for Shelly. It's like, good for you.
Yep. And she does it, and then I guess the implication she has a heart attack or some such.
Heart.
Too old. Thump.
Bell!
Yes. That's a real deeper film.
Yeah, it's too deeper.
Too deep. But, and I'm sorry, I think that's a very touching scene.
It is a touching
scene. Her death scene where she takes off the Chai medallion that she's been wearing. And
that's a little symbol?
That's the symbol.
Of life?
Yeah. Yep. CHAI. It looks an awful lot like the symbol for pi also.
Oh, yeah. But it has a little accent thing, right?
But it's Chai. It means life.
Oh, hi, how are you?
As in L'chaim, to life.
Oh, I thought it was that tea. That chai tea?
Now, that's only if you're Orthodox.
Oh, I see. You made that up.
I did. Oh, you would know.
I did. I in fact pointed it out. Anyway, the scene.
Yeah. And then when poor old Jack Albertson comes up and sees that she's dead and is just crying over her. And I just think that's very moving. And even there's a little bit of a throwback to it's a callback to what Hackman said when he's telling them, we're going to get out of here. We have to try. We have to choose life.
Right.
And she's saying, tell my grandson you always choose life. Give him this. And I thought that was touching.
It was touching. It was a very nice scene.
Yeah.
And I also just loved the fact that both Shelly Winters had to, did the scene because she trained for it and everything, but that the character actually was like, no, I got this. And she's like she's been having trouble the entire time and telling people to go ahead because it's like, look, I'm an old fat lady. I can't go. I'll get in your way. I can't climb the Christmas tree. I mean, but, religious issues aside.
Well, it wasn't even a real tree. But.
No, but thankfully it was made of solid steel.
Yeah.
There's something you want on a boat.
Yeah, sure. You make your 30-foot Christmas tree out of steel girders.
Yeah.
And don't anchor it very well so it tips over.
Yeah, because that wouldn't ever happen. Yeah. No, that was a good scene. And then it's even, sadder when Jack Alberts comes up and holds his dead wife and whispers in her ear, you still owe me the $260,000.
He does not.
So I do have a question. I did sort of, we talked about this a little bit in the trivia. You were mentioning Carol Lindley's blue eyes.
Yeah.
Does every major actor in this film have blue eyes? Because they kind of do.
I thought Bognine had brown eyes.
If you look, a disproportionate amount of people in this film have blue eyes. Because I kept noticing it. It's like, Eric Shea does. Gene Hackman does.
I see some sort of crypto-Aryan agenda here.
It was just weird because it was like I've never noticed that many blue eyes before. I think what's her name? The Borgnine's wife has blue eyes.
Well, no one knows what it's like to be the bad man, to be the sad man behind blue eyes.
No, but you're gonna.
Who?
Yeah, again, we finally get to this, and they're banging on the ceiling, and then suddenly there's banging back and a blowtorch.
Yes, and a bunch of, I guess, I wasn't sure from the accent, I guess Greek Coast Guard people?
Well, they shouldn't have gotten that far.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know.
Foreigners, whatever they were.
Foreigners.
Did you find them else? No one else.
Nope. We even lost Mr. Souvlaki, whatever his name is. And I'm sorry, I just don't know any Greek names. So, not that we're necessarily done, but we do have some talking points for this film. Is the disaster, as presented in this movie, believable?
Yeah, I think so. Again, I don't know enough about that sort of boat to know if they would actually stay capsized. Mm-hmm. But I absolutely believe in a big wave knocking over a boat because it's happened.
I think at the very least, a wave of that size hitting a boat that size in the way it was hit would cause a huge disaster.
Yeah, at least it would tip over.
Yeah.
I don't know if it would flip. But...
And even if it got even halfway over, that might be enough to flood areas that would make it impossible to pump it out.
To me, it's completely believable.
Just with a bigger toy.
Yeah, it didn't look good, but...
and the next question probably doesn't apply, but if maybe it still can. Yeah. If not, or even in this case, if so, is there something that could have been done to make it more believable?
Yeah, better model boat.
Yeah,
more impressive looking boat. More stuff about the way the ship itself. I mean, obviously, they couldn't use more of the ship because they must have only licensed a certain amount of the Queen Mary because they don't want you shooting on it. But
well, they shot some of the interior scenes, like cabin scenes and stuff like that. Because I can't remember if the Queen Mary is actually still there or not, but it's been docked in L.A. for like at least 50 years. Yeah. And it is an attractive... Some people actually lived on it for a while. Oh, wow. It was a weird thing where you could just buy a cabin, but it's been a museum. Again, I think they were finally saying fairly recently... who's going to pay to keep this thing floating? And everyone looked around it and was like, and I think they're finally like, okay, now what do we do with it? Because it's like, it's rusting and falling apart.
I think, and also, I think it would have been, if we had just gotten a little bit more about the characters, because everything was so encapsulated and just so, here is our character development in easy to swallow form. Or in some cases, in suppository form, because we're just going to shove this into you.
I'm not sure that I want more. I think what I want is less yelling. Like, when you see a disaster film, you're supposed to be rooting for the characters to get free. The kid, I didn't root for because it's like, there's no way Hollywood's going to kill a kid. It's not happening in the 70s. It's just not.
They just wouldn't.
I didn't care anything one way or the other about Nancy Drew or Carol Lindley because there wasn't really much character there.
There wasn't much there.
And so then we've got the Bickersons. It's like, so the Lockhorns drown. Do I really care?
Well, one of them does,
The nicest couple is Jack Albertson, the Rosens, and you feel, because they're talking about what she wants to do is she really wants to go and meet, because they have never met, their grandson. This is a big deal for them, a big trip they've been dreaming about, and we get the idea that Jack has been running a store for decades, never takes vacations because that's what you do. Now they've saved money and they're old and they're going to go see their grandson for the first time, and they just want to meet him. It's like, that's it. They don't even have like, oh, we're going to meet him and then we're going to take him to this. Yeah. No, they just want to meet him, and it's actually very sweet. Yeah. So we care about them, but of course one of them dies. Yeah. And then the other one's like, yeah, just go on without me. And they're like, oh yeah, sure, yeah, stay there, you Marty. Yeah.
But is he... Yeah, and I do have to say, that was one of my problems with Hackman speaking, because he's like, no, you have to come, because otherwise she died for nothing. She saved all of the rest of you. You know, all you guys are still alive because of her. It's not for nothing. He just wants to stay and die with the love of his life.
Remembere, enwe, uye, urwe, under the eve, always.
Day.
Yeah, whatever. And I totally understand Jack Albertson's point of view at that point, because it's like, I want to see my grandson, but as far as life goes, my life was with her. Yeah. And that was actually very sweet. I don't know if I want more of the characters we got. I think I just would like characters I liked.
That's reasonable.
Because Hackman just is also just like the screamy priest. It's like,
I mean, he is clearly the hero. He's trying to save everybody.
And then he gives up.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Kind of understand. He's been through an awful lot. They all have.
Yeah, but like, he literally just goes, and he lets go and falls into the water to his death. Kind of, sort of.
All I thought was maybe he doesn't want them to risk their lives to try to save him, because he's hanging out there. I don't know how they'd get him back over to the catwalk.
Well, he could swim to the decking where they could.
Yeah, I still didn't get that. I don't understand why they're falling into the... Oh, no, the water's on fire. The top of it is. There's a whole lot of it underneath, right?
And even if he got super hot real quick, he went right into the water.
Yeah.
So I think one of the major things to make this more believable is if he was, quote-unquote, sacrificing himself, what his actions actually did would have had to been the only way that they were going to get through, but the only way that they would get through is if he died.
Yeah.
Not, Yeah. So.
Yeah, I could see that.
That's pretty much all my notes. How about you? Are we ready to...
I think that's about it, except I do question, at one point, when in the beginning, Pamela Sue Martin jumps off a table off the ceiling, right, and they catch her on a tablecloth.
Yeah, boy, that is one strong
That is not just a strong tablecloth, but that is my... I mean, those things that the firemen use to catch people, the rescue blankets, those are made of very special fabric. I question if that would have worked.
Max, lame is a very special fabric.
Yeah, but other than that, I'm good. Let's go to the wrap-up.
The finish.
So, Max,
yeah,
this is the first time you've seen this.
It is, first time.
You knew of it. It has a kind of... I don't know. Legend.
It's very well known. It's influenced a lot of other movies.
I want to say they use clips for this in many other shows, like clip shows, award shows, blah 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 blah.
Yep.
It's best you can, taking it in context. Meaningly, it came out in the 1970s.
Yeah.
What did you think of the movie?
Wow, I do not miss the 70s clothes or hair, but overall, honestly, for what it is, it's not bad. It's exactly what it is. It's a disaster porn movie. There's tension. There's some good visuals inside the ship. There are plenty of adequate performances and a few good ones. For what it is and in the context, I think it works. I think it's a solid, disaster movie. And, you can see why Irwin Allen, who, did he direct this?
No, he produced it.
He produced it. Irwin Allen became king of the disaster movies.
Yeah.
And I can see why. What about you?
Well, let me add another question on here. So that's in context.
Yeah.
How do you think the film holds up today?
Again, for what it is, it's very dated. The whole thing with the women who are mostly there to scream and, I've twisted my ankle.
You can't get into the water with all those clothes. You must take as many off as possible.
Yeah, pretty much.
Only the young, attractive women.
Yeah.
Although we
And
will have
by the way, yes, you can leave your tuxedo jacket on.
Yeah.
But it's okay. I mean, I don't think I would watch it for entertainment value now. It's because it is very melodramatic and kind of over the top.
Yeah.
But
Or under the bottom.
yeah, or under the sea, or yeah. What about you?
I have a real problem with the storytelling. Again, we're trying to root for characters that in general we don't like. The most likable character in the group ends up being Mrs. Rosen, and second is Mr. Rosen.
Yeah.
After that, I can easily see the argument for hating the kid. Let's face it, most of the time, if you've got a kid and then the rest of the cast is adults, you hate the kid. Because they're usually obnoxious.
At least he's polite most of the time.
He is, and he actually, as I said, I think Eric Shea does a good job. He does not seem like most kid acting would be seen.
He's quite good for a kid.
But Gene Hackman is just not a priest. I don't believe him as a priest for an instant. He's our hero. If he had been some other profession, it might have worked better. Or if they had hired somebody else for a priest.
Yeah, he doesn't seem very spiritual. Maybe he is. Maybe Gene Hackman was, but
he was apparently a mixture of 3 different religions, and one of them was Buddhism. And I forget what the other. One of them was Christian. I forget the other one was. So he was spiritual, but not. Yeah. So we have a bunch of characters that are yelling at each other for various reasons that I didn't care for. The special effects do not hold up. Maybe obviously for the time they did great because they won an Academy Award.
Again, you have to take that in.
And to be fair, it's mostly the boat that doesn't work. The rest of it's fairly good. I honestly, the pacing is mostly good, but it slows down towards the end of the film. And also, I really think we should see the water really rushing in and destroying things as opposed to
dribbling.
Well, the bathtub's filling.
Yeah.
So I can't recommend it. For today's audiences especially, I think they're going to find it too 70s.
I would recommend it for historical, completeness. If you want to see, where one of the places this genre really started.
Yeah.
With that and Airport.
Right.
Yeah, that would be it.
Yeah. But that leads us back to our poll question. Yeah,
Tell us.
Do you prefer your disaster porn intimate or on a grand scale? Intimate meaning like a vehicle, such as a plane or a boat, a toy boat, if you will. Or do you want to see cities destroyed like in ID4?
Or Storm.
You're only doing that because I don't have access to my special effects this week. Notice I didn't say it. Therefore, it doesn't count.
Okay.
But you will let us know in the usual ways if you would. You can email us directly at us@maxmikemovies.com, which of course is from our website, which is also maxmikemovies.com. There, or through email, you can send us comments. You can give us ideas for entire series or movies you think we should definitely include, such as Jurassic Park, which it's been pointed out we have not in fact reviewed at any point. You could also just say, you guys are totally right and I believe every word you say. Or
which you should.
Something similar to that effect. You can find us on Facebook. We are Max Mike Movies at Facebook. You can leave comments there, either to our poll question or, again, give us suggestions of stuff you want us to do, or even suggestions to other social media, if there are any, not Twitter, that you might think would be good fit for us.
Yep.
But, disaster porn. There's a lot more porn to go. More porn.
Yep. You got another one?
Porn. How much more porn, Max? What porn are we porning next week?
Well, I'll tell you soon.
Now would be good.
No, day after tomorrow.
No, now, Max.
I'll tell you. No, it's the day after tomorrow.
No, Max, the show is only an hour long. We can't wait that long. What is the name of the movie we're going to watch next week?
I'll tell you. The day after tomorrow.
No, I need to know now! Third base!
Yes, we are. A lot of people have brought this up as the most unbelievable or silliest of the disasters. So, of course, we have to do it. The movie where people run away from cold.
Successfully.
Yes, we got this with we got another Quaid in here. We've got a Gyllenhaal.
Yep.
We got lots of stuff, and we've got a lot of cold.
But
it's the day after tomorrow.
If you want to keep warm, join us next week and burn the script as we rub our hands over the warmth of the destruction of this film. Or tell you how much you should watch it because it's really great.
Yes, listen and warm yourself over our blistering commentary.
This has been a co-production of The Voice of Max and The Movie Wrench.